A few days ago, I had mapping session number 5. Um, that was a little bit different. Um, I've mentioned previously about how people's voices tend to sound quite a number of octaves higher than what I think they should. I mentioned this to the audiologist, and she decided to try something. Um, and I'm not quite sure the exact um, explanation behind it, but I think it's got something to do with how quickly the implant stimulates the nerve. Um, so she was saying I was on 900, whatever the rate is, and she wanted to try something a little bit slower, um, thinking that that might actually bring sort of sounds down a little bit in their pitch. So we did that, and at first this new program sounded a little bit weird, actually. Probably because I was used to the original mapping. Um, but I've given it a try, and I do have to say that I actually find this slower um, rate of stimulating the nerve. Um, Things are actually sounding a little bit closer to what I would expect them to sound like. Um, so I've basically been on that particular program for the last 5 or so days. Um, and when I revert back to the original program, that's actually starting to sound really strange, and I'm really noticing how much um, everything's sounding high pitched. So that's really good. In order to sort of test how well these two mappings were working for me, I did a speech perception test at the clinic that I work at. Um, and whereas previously I was sort of averaging maybe about 17 to 20 words out of 50 correct, with this new program and getting the volume at a comfortable sort of level, I actually brought it up to about 28 words out of 50 right, which is actually the best score I've had so far. Um, and that was basically about a day or two after this new program was actually put on. So I'd be curious to see, you know, giving it about a week or so to get used to this new program, just how high I can actually get those speech understanding scores. So that's really good. Especially given that I never thought I'd get speech on that side. The other thing I've been doing is just giving myself a little bit more practice just hearing through the implant alone. So on the train trip to and from work, I'll turn the hearing aid off and just listen to environmental sounds and try to eavesdrop in on people's conversations on the train, listening through the implant alone. I guess it comes down to if people, are speaking quite quickly. If they don't enunciate very well, it's quite, it can sort of, one sound sort of blurs into the next one, so it can be a little bit difficult. But look, like it's getting there, definitely getting there. So that's good. I mean, it is still very early days. Um, from some of the people on, a number of cochlear support groups that I'm on, it sometimes it can take up to a year or sometimes even longer for people to get any sort of speech understanding. So um, I think I'm making really good progress. And it's just a case of just being patient and just continuously just training myself and, going through various sort of exercises. One thing I have really noticed is the sound of birds. Um, so I was walking home from work about a week or so ago, and I sort of noticed, hey, I can really, really hear the sound of birds. And it wasn't just like I could actually tell like there were different types of bird chirps that I could hear, and they actually sounded quite normal to me. So the strange thing being is that environmental sounds actually sound more or less what I would expect them to sound like, and I'm really getting quite good at being able to identify some new sound that I'm hearing. Um, Voices and people speaking is the challenging thing, which is to be expected, I suppose. But um, Yeah, but look, that's where I'm up to so far. I think I'm still making really good progress. I've got another mapping session early June. That's going to be a more of a lengthy one. I think they're going to reassess where I am and probably do some speech testing, and yeah, that's where sort of things get really official. So looking forward to it. A little bit nervous, but I don't think I've got anything to worry about. I mean, I'm making good progress, and as long as I keep doing what I've been doing, there's no reason why that won't continue. That's it for now.